Welcome to another captivating episode of Raw Momversations,
where fearless moms and experts unite to explore alternative practices. Hey there, I'm Allie.
And I'm Melania. Our mission is to empower your one-of-a-kind parenting journey. Join us as we explore unconventional birthing and parenting methods.
Get ready for inspiration, authentic stories, and unwavering family love.
Together, we're rewriting our rules of parenting one bold step at a time.
So without further ado, let's kick off this empowering momversation.
Raw Momversations, where fearless motherhood leads the way.
I just looked at I didn't form any answers. Because then it sounds recorded.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like.
So talk a bit like this because we've already started the podcast, but our mothers are not paying attention.
Not paying attention.
Alyssa, when she does her podcast, they're very business oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And the two yes. of them discuss.
Okay.
And the two of them.
We clicked record.
It
I'm
is
very sorry.
Okay.
You're fired.
We're very honored to be here.
I love the podcast voice immediately. I'm honored to be here.
It's the podcast voice. I have no podcast voice.
Allie, who do we have here today with us?
Who do we have? The reason for our existence. Our mamas.
Well said. Well said.
Don't
I
you
agree
forget
with that.
Welcome to another Raw Conversation.
Featuring Allie's mom, Natalie, and my mom, Luba.
Yep.
Hi, guys. Hi. Nice to be here on a Sunday morning.
9 a.m.
We told them they're on an episode of The View this morning, so they got all dolled up.
This is even better.
So today will be a very interesting and intimate podcast. Hopefully not too many secrets will be revealed.
No? Or maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see where we all stand after this podcast.
If you don't hear from us, it's because someone didn't make it out alive.
You know what they say? You're a mom forever.
Yeah.
Whether you're 60, 70, 80, because we both have moms
That's right.
that still
Are with us.
with us and would love to always know what we're doing every day
Mhm.
and how you grandchildren are doing as well. So
So it never ends.
it never ends, girls.
Yeah.
Your moms forever, which is fabulous.
So you're saying we're going to have to change your diapers again one day?
Exactly.
Not that. No. No.
Exactly. Sorry to tell you, honey.
No. That's not happening.
It's called the full circle of life.
No, my mom wants to be somewhere very luxurious.
Yes. Someone else, very handsome young man, will be changing me.
My dad's aware. No shame in the game. Should we jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Mama, you're the one that likes to tell this story. Do you want to share how Allie and I met?
I would love to. I remember the day like it was literally yesterday. I did not know Natalie before this, and this was a Ukrainian scouting organization called Plast. I had just enrolled Melania into it, so she knew nobody, not one soul. And it was the opening of the year. It was like a lunch after church, and we went downstairs. And so one side of the hall was where the parents were sitting, and the other side was where all the children were, all the scouts. And the children were told, "Okay, everybody, go find a seat." And Melania knew nobody, and she stood there like a deer in headlights while everybody else was scrambling to go sit next to their friends. And then I saw Allie, who did not know Melania, and just looked at her, and she put up her hand and she waved her over, and she put her hand on the seat next to it, like we used to do in school, like when you hold the seat for somebody.
Come sit next
Yeah.
to us. Yeah.
And she waved her over. And I looked at Melania's eyes, and it was just such, I suppose, gratitude or like relief. And she ran over, and that was it. That was the beginning
Of their relationship.
I remember.
That story gets us
I
every time.
remember feeling such love for this girl. See, I want to cry, that I didn't even know yet. But
started and we're all crying.
but there was such kindness from a stranger.
Yeah.
So
So how old were we then?
Yes. What's your
well, you're
age difference?
2 years.
We're 2 years apart.
So Melania, you must have been 5.
5 and 7.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We've known each other a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, we're born in April.
Yes, both
I'm
of
the,
us.
I'm the 12th. She's the 21st.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
switch our numbers
Backward.
around. Yeah.
Interesting.
And
And
now,
then our relationship started.
Yes.
Yeah. As
And then I
parents.
think, well, I had already Alyssa, and you
And
also.
I already had
Larissa.
Larissa. Yeah.
And then I was pregnant with Michael, and then you were pregnant
With Nicole.
with Nick.
Yeah, so our
So they're
siblings,
all-
our sisters
yes.
are the same age, our brothers are the same age, and we're just about the same age.
Yes.
So that's what's. So did your friendship blossom after that?
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely, we've been friends forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were just saying we were in the kitchen taking pictures with our grandchildren and thinking, did you ever think that the days where we were having, shots and staying up till at your
Parties and-
house
Yes.
till 3:00 in the morning, and somebody put me in a pajama and put me to bed. That was
Yes,
you.
yes.
Thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
And now
Our parents, ladies and gentlemen.
are we going to have to rate this podcast?
This one's explicit.
Actually, we just took a picture in the kitchen with our grandchildren
yeah,
and us together. That's the first
that's right.
of that picture.
That's
Oh.
Really?
yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, more to come.
More to come.
So, how were we as children, and does that reflect our personalities today?
I'd say, Ali, you were always fairly independent. You were always very kind to all the children in school, just like the time you took your hand out to Melania
Mhm.
and to your sisters. It was interesting because you never really wanted to play with Barbies or dolls. It was, you were always interested in little stuffed animals, and caring for them and nurturing for them.
Wow.
But somehow the dolls were just not up your alley. And I was in love with my Barbie dolls. So when I knew I was having a girl, I was, okay, which Barbie doll am I going to buy next for this child? And not a one.
It's funny because I was such a tomboy growing up.
Yes.
I guess because we grew up with so many boys on our street, but today I'm like the biggest girly girl.
Mhm.
When she says you love your stuffed animals, we have to note your collection of what were they?
Beanie Babies.
I'm sure you have something worth money in that one.
Listen, this is a
Kept them.
whole thing with
the whole thing happened.
I remember your shelf
Oh,
in your
yeah.
bedroom.
Every time I traveled, I would buy a new or my sister in Georgia when she traveled. So we had Princess Diana's.
Oh my god.
We had all, and they've gone missing.
she's been
They
yeah,
have.
they're missing. I think someone sold them. I'm gonna go maybe with my brother.
I don't think so. I think we're still in the hunt for them. And when I do find them, they're all coming here because there's a huge basket of them. So yeah,
We're gonna be millionaires with that Lady Diana Beanie Baby in there.
Yes. That's for sure.
So as a child, she was really very caring and continues to do so in her life, with her friends, even caring in her business. And, as much as you have to be a tough businesswoman, you still are very caring. So yeah, it's very much reflective.
Mhm.
How about Melania?
I agree. 100%. Melania is the take charge. It's my way or the highway, because my way is the right way.
It's a nice paved road, my way.
It is.
A nice paved road.
It
I like
is.
the way that sounds. Yeah.
And she was.
And was she like that as a baby?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
As a young child. But one thing that always stood out for me is the first day of kindergarten, where for a week I didn't sleep properly because I thought, how is she going to do this? I'd never sent her to anything. So how is she going to get on a bus and say goodbye? She's not. There's no way. How am I going to get her to do this? I didn't sleep for a week, and then that morning I walked her to 27th Avenue and Saint Cecilia. And we waited for the bus, and I saw it, and already anxiety. Like, I felt like I was going to throw up. And she was just very calm. And I thought, okay, it's the calm before the storm, right? She's going to lose it. She's just going to say, I'm not getting on this. And I thought, okay, she's going to cry, and I'm going to have to put her in the car. I'm going to have to take her to school myself. We'll handle it. It'll be okay. And the bus came. The doors opened. Melania walked up those 3 steps, sat in the chair, never even looked back. Never looked back. Determined.
Bye-bye.
Face forward. This is what I've got to do. And that's the way she's been her whole life. And in the end, it was me who was standing there in that corner, bawling my eyes out. But when I was walking back to the house, I thought, she's going to be okay, this one.
Mm-hmm.
Turned out okay.
I think so.
But you know what? That reminds me of another bus story. Do you know what I'm about to get at?
No. Oh,
Where
yes.
Toronto?
they shipped us to that biking
Shipped
camp.
us.
I feel like we would have
No excuses when I remember.
We would have. We were so mad.
We were
Where were the
so
bikes? So the bikes were put on a
Forgot your odnostri, which is the official
Scout
uniform.
uniform. Yeah.
scouting
Yeah.
uniform. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, she
Anyway.
did.
Yeah, she
we're
was
not
the
gonna
only
go
one
into
who didn't have one.
Oh,
traumatic stories.
And then as I took her cycling up and down the mountains of I don't know where in Toronto, she
Had an asthma attack.
yes, she was not happy with us at all, especially with me. And as we saw their faces in the window,
Oh God.
it wasn't the looking forward
No,
like
no.
Melania had in kindergarten. It was out the window and how
With
dare you.
daggers.
Daggers. Just visualize that bus going away and the two of us in the back, like angry.
Dinner reservations. Gotta go.
It's going to traumatize us that we won't even send Isabella Marquez.
No.
Oh,
But you guys are the real winners.
Mhm.
On that note, what would you say your parenting style was? Or still is to this day?
I don't think I can even, there's no name for it because it's like now everybody has a name for it. I'm a soft parent. I'm
Oh, really?
this
I didn't
parent.
even know that.
As just a parent, we
I'm
were
just a
thrown,
winging it parent.
Yeah.
That's basically what
Yeah.
it was.
we were thrown into this. No books, no podcasts, nobody
no social
guiding
media.
us, no Dr.
Google.
Becky saying, you
Yeah.
might want to think about when you yell at your child what it's doing.
No.
I mean, half the time I was walking around with a hoarse voice because, I would never hit my children, but like if they got out of hand or whatever, I would raise my voice.
Of course.
So
You know what I remembered the book that we had? I don't know. Dr. Spock.
Dr. Spock, of course,
It sounds like Darth Vader. Or what is?
was the
He
only
was a doctor.
children's book out there.
Right. A child psychologist. And he wrote a book, and that's what we had.
That's
Dr.
right.
Spock.
We need to look into this.
You have to look into this.
Yes.
Dr.
We'll
Spock.
put it in our show notes.
Yeah.
I don't think you
But
can interview him. I think he's
it would
gone.
he's gone, but it would be very interesting
Yes.
to see the contrast now of what the parenting style was
Right.
and how it is now. It's probably, I want to say black and white. I don't even know if there's a color and white because that's how probably opposite.
But seeing us and how much information we have available, do you think that you guys were lucky to not be overwhelmed, or
Yeah.
do you wish you had?
That's a good point of view,
Yeah.
I would say. I think
A
somewhere
little-
in the middle
yeah.
would be nice.
It would be helpful to get, like, I listen to Dr. Becky all the time, and I think she's just brilliant and how she explains. And that's the whole thing, explanation. Really, when we wanted something and you didn't listen and you'd ask why, we'd say, because we said so. That's all you need to know. Because we know what's good for you.
Mhm.
It's not like that anymore because children, really, they're so smart
Yeah.
at a very young age. Why not give them the understanding of why something is being done? We were not taught that. We were thrown into this. I didn't know you yet, unfortunately. I wish I did because I knew nobody who had a child. I was the first one. I literally, I was happy when I was going to sleep that my child was still alive.
And I was among all my friends the first to have a baby, so that was really overwhelming for me. Plus I was a working mom. in those days, I mean, we're very lucky in Canada. If you're working, you have, I think, a year to be home with the baby. How wonderful. In the United States, you have
6 months.
3 months.
no,
I thought it was 6
3
months.
no, like 12 weeks, something ridiculous.
Crazy.
I mean, that baby is still, cradling in your arms.
Yeah.
But when I had Ali, we only had 4 months in Canada. I think I took 2 or 3 weeks before my delivery, and then she was 3 weeks late. So I really only had 2 months with my infant child. And I will say that it takes a village. If it wasn't for my in-laws and for my mother, whom I lived, excuse me, on top of her home in a duplex, it took a village to support me and my husband, Ali's dad, to make every day go by, where we were so clueless, That's the word.
My next question was, what type of support did you guys have? Having little babies. Was it your mothers? Did you have neighbors?
No, I didn't have anyone. I suppose my mother, but I really. So, backstory: I'm adopted. So my mother and father only adopted me when I was 15 months old. So she never went through the baby stage. So I never thought to ask her for any help because, in a way, I just figured she's not going to know how to help me.
So you didn't want to put her in that position.
Yeah. And here I was already having a child, and I wasn't going to start teaching her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even when Melania had Marcus, she had to still reteach me certain things. You forget after
for sure.
years. Burping? Right.
Yeah.
So I just kind of did it on my own. But Melania was very easy.
But what about your mother-in-law? Did she help? Was she in the picture?
No.
Not really.
If we ever had to needed babysitters for if we were going to a wedding or something like that. The first time Melania was ever babysat was for we had Melania before our first wedding anniversary, just before. She was born in April and our wedding anniversary was May 13th. So the first time she was babysat was for our wedding anniversary, and it was my two friends, Lida Kulish and Andrea Mizak. And they had no idea. And I remember being like, you'll be fine. Here's the book.
Bye-bye.
You have to remember to burp after each feeding. You'll be fine. And they wouldn't do it without each other.
Like, well, I mean, that's a big responsibility. That's like still like newborn.
It was like 4 hours.
Yeah.
It was newborn, yes. Now knowing, very easy newborn, very easy compared to 1-year-old, 2-year-old.
Two.
Yeah.
Being attached.
You
to
feed
mom
and they sleep. You feed and they sleep.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just a lack of sleep at that point that you're just.
Yeah.
I remember coming home from the hospital and your dad said to your grandmother, my mom, when she came up and said, "Can I help? Can I?" And he said, "No, we're good. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're good." And it was very well intentioned, And 3 days later, with no sleep and feeding the baby every 2 hours.
Please come.
Hello. I said, I'm just going to go downstairs and see mom. And, so I went downstairs and sat on the couch in the basement. She's watching TV on her little whatever chair. And I'm sitting there and she says, so how's it going? I turned to her. The baby's crying. She went, oh my God, came up to the kitchen, made 7 meals, ran upstairs, took the baby, gave me a break. I mean, it was unbelievable. Great help, a great help. For me, the village was very welcomed, very welcomed.
I feel everyone tries to do it on their own and then they realize. Someone once said, never say no to help.
Yes, you're right. You're right. And you know what Baba would say? We would have an event. I was a very possessive mother because I was a working mother. So any time I had with you guys was so precious. And every time we had an event, I would say to Baba, well, we're going here. It's an engagement party, whatever. She'd say, let me babysit Alexandra, which is, by the way, Ali. Alexandra, No, I'd say, no, we're going to, she'd say, you'll enjoy yourself. You'll have a few hours off. Let me,
Mhm.
and I never looked back.
Mhm.
Mama,
Mhm.
we've got, but I was very, very attached to my children, very, as we all are attached to our children, but very possessive. And every moment for me was crucial to be with my children.
So you mentioned that you were a working mom, and Mama, you were a stay-at-home mom. Do you think that that had an impact on me and Ali, seeing as how she went and started her business, and I am a stay-at-home mom? Do you think it had any impact on?
I don't think so. I remember it wasn't even you who told me. Somebody told Natalie Luba, I don't know why, had a conversation with you, and she told me that Melania said, I want to have children early. I want to be just like my mom. I want to stay home with
I
them.
remember your second child saying that to me.
Larissa saying the same thing.
Yes.
That I
Yes.
want to.
Yes, that's what I want to be. Stay-at-home mom. I want to have children. That's what I want to do. And both your girls are university graduates.
Yes. And I don't think Larissa, I don't know if Larissa would want to be a stay-at-home mom anymore. But
She told me many years ago.
Okay.
It may have changed her mind.
Yeah.
But you, Melania, have always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I know that.
I mean, yeah, I knew I wanted a family, and I knew I wanted children.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, your mom is your role model, right? Every little girl's mom is their role model. So
Right.
I feel to a certain extent, it does have like an influence growing
Yes.
up, right?
Mhm.
You know, I looked at my mom. She was a very hardworking mom, traveled a lot, provided for our family, gave us a beautiful life by doing that. And I think that part of me said, you know, I want to do the same, and I'm going to help provide for my family
Right.
and start my own business. And, you know, and then I met my now husband, and I said, you know, the stay-at-home mom thing can work for me too. Yeah, I still do both. Yeah.
Good balance.
You have the best of both worlds, really.
I hope
You know.
I did, both successfully, because, my creativity and working was very important to me, and as my family was. And
Mhm.
my mother was a hardworking woman. She cleaned homes her whole life, and worked 3 days a week, home 2 days, took care of her father.
Mhm.
And this is what I witnessed.
Mhm.
My older sister, her dreams of her life was to be a secretary, because that was the age of women not having careers or what have you, and having children and being a stay-at-home mom. And being 7 years younger and seeing the whole women's movement happening, um, I I had so much ambition to want to see the world. I wanted to work. And I really didn't think I was going to have any children. And I had three. So
Wow.
it, but when we decided, I think it's time. It was almost like a given. Like, of course, we're going to have children. Even though I was career minded. And the minute we thought we should try, and we got pregnant right away, and it was just natural to me that, of course, I'm going to do everything. I'll go to work, and I'll stay home. And honestly, Ali didn't go to a daycare or any babysitting until she was 5 years old, and she went to kindergarten because, of course, we had the grandparents helping us, and of course her dad, who was a great help in bringing up our children. She spoke Ukrainian going to kindergarten.
Yeah, that's right.
And learned English in kindergarten because we were all, Ukrainian families. So it was very interesting. Later on, with having 2 and 3 children, I had nannies and, help with them. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I never really wanted children either until I met Ellie.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Right.
I want to make life with this man, like something changed in me. So when you're with the right person, magic happens, miracles happen.
Exactly.
Which is kind of cool.
And both your dad and I were very ambitious, and,
Yeah.
and we were the first of all our friends to have a child. So that was really, really for the other people, you're having what, a baby? It was like, really? And I was 28 when I had my first. How old were you?
26 and then 28 with Larissa, and we're old, on the brink of 35 with Nicola.
Uh-huh.
I was 30.
I was 33.
Mm-hmm.
Different times.
And
Yeah.
my sister was 20.
Right.
There you go.
So 7 years later, here I'm at 28. Everybody's saying you got to have a baby. So, and now your generation is even later.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is fine.
no, I'm so thankful at the age that I had it because my mindset was so different. If I had a child any earlier, because I've been with Tara since I was 17, we could have gotten married so much earlier. I wouldn't be the same parent I am today.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you really would have been the youngest out of everyone.
Oh yeah, my kids would be teenagers by now.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh my
It's
God.
crazy.
Well,
My mom was a grandmother at 45. At 45, because my sister gave birth early, young in her years, and my
Wow.
sister very early. My mom was already a grandmother at 45.
Well, there's something to be said about that. You have a lot more energy.
As a grandmother, you mean?
Yeah.
A young grandmother.
45. My God.
I guess.
I see people who, just because become grandmothers for the first time at 65, 70.
Yeah.
And I know at 70, I'll never be able to. That's only 10 years away. Oh my God. I probably won't be able to do what I do now with Marcus.
Yeah.
with like Nicola's kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah, your youngest.
Listen, I have a girlfriend who had her first baby at 42.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody said, oh my God, she won't have the energy. But that was her one and only child. And she devoted everything. And she was the most amazing mother that a 25-year-old or a 35-year-old would be, because it was, so special to her. 42.
Yeah,
Imagine.
you don't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
At
I
25,
also don't think now 70 is the same as like our Baba's 70s.
No.
You know what I mean?
But even just aches and pains, right?
Yeah.
You can't just jump up. I mean, you have to stay in somewhat shape, but it's not the same. I see, every year brings a little something. So, yeah.
A little,
I feel
pain here,
very,
a little pain there.
That's right.
In the knees and the,
yeah.
How do we get up? Today I help Ali up off the floor. She helps me up the floor. So we're in the same position on the floor for two very different reasons.
I've got a watermelon for a belly right now.
Is that the fruit rat? Did you check that?
I think it's more like a melon or something, but if you look, it's a watermelon from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 2 months away from a newborn, so
Ooh, let's go back.
How excited!
let's go back to newborn.
How excited are you?
Excited for the first 3 months to swing by. Those are the hardest. Those are the hardest months. The breastfeeding, the no sleep, but after that, it's all smooth sailing. I find. And now looking back,
new human, new personality.
Yeah.
and they're probably going to be totally different than the first one we had. I don't know. We'll
But
see.
then you have a 2.5-year-old
Yes,
also who is so in love with you.
full
that-
of energy.
Yeah, and it'll be very interesting to see the dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
going
it
from
does,
1 to 2.
it does make a difference between Melania and Larissa.
26 months.
Okay, they were almost 5 years apart. So Ali was very, very giving, very loving, but she was doing her thing.
Yeah.
And then I was able to take care of a newborn. It wasn't like I had a toddler and
That's
a newborn.
right. That's
With
right.
Alyssa and Michael, I did, and Alyssa was, in a baby rocking chair. And
Breastfeeding
breastfeeding her
dolls.
dolls, because
My sister.
saw me breastfeeding. We have a picture.
So, are there any desperate attempts or creative ideas that you guys did or attempted to put a newborn to sleep?
Well, if it's so unique, we would do the dryer.
Oh,
The dryer, like in a baby
Yes.
chair on the dryer. Turn the dryer on for the sound and the motion.
Or there was little.
You realize that's for
those
us, the
little
Mamaroo.
pillows
that's a mamaroo
and you really got
in
a lot of
2023.
vibration.
They're so smart. They saved like $500.
I know.
And if that didn't work, then the last resort, because this was always during the night. It wasn't during the day.
Right.
It was during the night. The last resort was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Melania's father would take her in the car. And
No, it wasn't
drive-
for me. It was for Larissa.
for you as well.
Oh,
Would drive around for 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
Up until she woke up. And that gave me an opportunity to sleep for 3 hours.
Wow.
Mhm.
And then when he would come back with her, I would be with her and he'd go off to work.
Mhm.
You know, somehow, I don't know. But
Somehow they're
that's
look,
it.
look
Like,
out
I didn't,
there.
yeah.
You made it.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah. For Melania, it didn't last very long. She was good. Larissa lasted a very long time.
I think as a newborn, the mistake I made and we made was to be totally quiet. in the house.
Yes.
Like we
Tiptoeing.
tiptoed. We had a door with the glass that we would peer through, and
I
we would be so quiet.
Yes.
That's
That's what the first.
that's the first. That's the big mistake. With the second one, noise TV with the little
Vacuum.
on the couch while life was going on.
Yes.
And it was the best. And I brought you into bed many times.
Oh, yeah.
Many times. It was like we just need a little sleep.
Yeah.
And you know what? They grow out of it and they sleep in their own beds.
Mhm.
And once you
Too soon.
understand that, you do make that concession, and it's not the end of the world to bring your baby into bed. It's
Yeah.
not,
Well,
Yeah.
before anything, just like
Oh,
anyone,
I'm
sure,
sorry.
I won't do this. I won't
Of
do
course.
that. I will and every single one of those is broken.
of course.
I feel like I could just hear the wheels in Ali's head turning, being like, this is a big debate, the sleep training and the bringing into bed. You're just nodding your head for your mom, but you're like, this is a very big debate. This is a hot topic.
Hot topic.
This is another podcast in
I
itself.
also had her cry in her crib
Yeah.
for an hour.
Yeah.
For an hour, which was breaking my
Oh.
heart. But my pediatrician said, "You gotta do it.
Me
You
too.
gotta do it. They gotta figure it out."
Mhm.
And I believe they'll figure it out when they figure it
When it's
out
time.
now, because I did the same thing with Melania. I did the same thing with Larissa.
Yeah.
And with Nicola, I was like,
Oh, we do. Oh,
Nicola slept in our bed
Oh.
until he was, I don't know, 7.
Oh.
And now he is the most incredibly
Stable,
Stay-
independent.
yeah,
Look at that.
self-sufficient. Well, self-sufficient. Like independent. Like
Yes.
doesn't
he's getting there. He's running his own business. He
Yeah.
is getting there. He is
Yeah.
so determined.
determination. Yeah.
He's going to be a big somebody someday soon.
yeah.
And my brother
And
slept
that's
in the
all-
bed until his age.
That's all because he
I
slept in the bed with
really
mom and
go
dad.
there. But we were at a hockey game. This fellow mother of one of the players, and she said to me, should I even mention his name?
That's okay.
Offside Daniel, because he was always offside and when he played hockey. He just keeps wanting to come into my bed. She was divorced, and her divorced husband had died, so I think there was some trauma there. I said, really? I said, well, Michael keeps wanting to come into my bed. And so we both laughed, because here were these 13-year-old boys
Mm-hmm.
who were still,
Mhm.
insecure, I would think, at that time in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're independent young men,
Yeah.
and very stable today. So,
There's something to be said about giving the comfort that the child needs.
yes.
And it's always,
Yeah. But you just love to have them in your bed, and it's just
Yeah.
it's just so
the
lovely.
day where I was like, okay, are we going to bed? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to my room. Your room? To do what? To sleep? Okay. You do you.
So you felt
Like
abandoned.
No, not really. I was just like shocked because there was no little signs of any. It was
like just
one day to the next.
There you
Going
go.
into my room. Something happened that day to him.
Only 9 years later.
Anyway,
Nick and Mikey, we love you.
yes.
Yes.
Did we have any crazy objects or a toy or something as toddlers that we were so attached to?
Blanket. Nothing crazy. I have other children who's much more. But
I remember that blanket you had.
I had a pink one,
Yeah.
and my sister had a Power Ranger one
Power
that
Ranger
was like
blanket.
it was like an organ. It was attached to her body. But
Yes.
Marcus was very much the same with his lovey. So I understand the like attachment when you have a love for something
Yes.
so
It's
severely.
it's also another comfort.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's always there with you. It's a comfort, and nothing wrong with it. I don't think there's anything
No.
unless you lose it. This is why, for anyone out there, whatever thing your child is attached to, buy 5 of them, hide them, because
God forbid.
they'll when they're ready. Just like Marcus, he doesn't carry it all the time. He doesn't need it all the time, where he used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
if you lost one, oh boy.
Ali had a little white teddy bear that she still has today.
Yep.
It's called Fejo.
Oh,
Yes.
Now Isabel carries him around.
Yes.
same one, the original.
Yeah. I've sewn him. And
Yeah.
Alyssa had a pink teddy bear. A friend of mine had gifted her, and I think she still has it.
Yeah.
It's really ratty.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one. And Michael, I don't
I
recall.
think he did.
No.
No,
I
but
don't
I
think
I still have that tutu of mine here.
And it was the one and only. But Ali was very in need of her pacifier.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 20 of those
Mm-hmm.
in every nook and cranny of the house. And that was
Till what age?
There.
till
Scavenger
two.
hunt.
Till
Okay.
2. And that was very difficult, to wean her off. So with Alyssa,
Interesting. How did you do it?
I just took it away.
Okay.
She just cried.
Yeah, she cried. And, as she looked for it, we would make sure. So all these 20 were. And with Alyssa, I breastfed her till 9 months, I believe. And she needed very little of the pacifier. And at 6 months, I just threw it away. Michael, 3 months, and that was it. Because I learned I didn't want to be dependent on the pacifier for 2 years again.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend of mine, Danya Dejanette, gave Melania a really, really just brilliant piece of advice, which worked beautifully. Melania, if you want to.
Yeah, no, she told, because we were at a good age where Marcus didn't, I mean, he knows we can go to the store and buy things, but he thought his pacifier was his. So he didn't think he could go back and buy his pacifier. So she told me to cut it,
Make a little hole.
make a little hole. And then I gave it to him. I told him it was broken. And then he realized it was broken. And then he walked to the garbage can himself and threw it away by himself.
That's perfect.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So he saw himself
Yeah.
like throwing it away and like he did it.
So, Ali, that's what you should do now. She's got 3.
Yeah.
Break 1.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like Isabel was as dependent as Marcus was.
No, she
No,
only
she's
has
not.
hers at night. That's kind of
Yeah.
like her nighttime soothing.
Yeah. He had it in his mouth.
Yeah, he needed his comfort.
It was it went away, and then we went to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
She just needed it constantly, and he would drop on the sand, and he would put it in the
Yeah.
mouth with
Yeah.
sand, and he
Yeah.
didn't even care.
Yeah.
It was better with sand than not
Not at all. Mm. Yeah.
Past it.
Yeah.
Consider it a
Win.
win for
Win-win,
me.
for sure.
Yeah. I just
For
got rid of
sure.
the bottle, so that's a big win. And now the passy
Yes.
is next.
Bottle.
It's gonna be a negotiating tactic with Isabel. I feel I do a lot of negotiating with her.
I mean, they are strong-willed,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
need to feel like they're making a decision.
Did you guys have to negotiate?
Always.
What was any good negotiating tactics or?
You know what?
Mm.
My mother-in-law, God bless her soul, she was brilliant with you guys. She was a storyteller. She was an entertainer. She was on the floor playing with you. It was wonderful. And she taught me about distraction.
Mm.
Not so much negotiating,
Mm.
but to distract if the child was focused on something and having a tantrum, you had to be smart enough and fast enough to find a distraction to
Mhm.
get them over that hump or whatever. I don't know if that's
No, I think
if that's
I think that would still work. I even see it with Marcus. If there's something that he's upset about, oh my gosh, look at this! Look what I just found. Why don't we do this? Yeah, I don't remember any tactics that were
Or negotiating.
that were used, that were like, oh, I would do this all the time, because every scenario had a
Mhm.
different need for a different solution.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of mealtime, was there like a specific meal that you knew was guaranteed going to be successful and we were going to eat it?
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
were you
Kraft
were you
macaroni and cheese?
no?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
With hot
Really?
dogs in it.
Really?
Yeah, and ice cream.
My gosh.
Anything like.
Ali was a very difficult eater. It was the one and only time my children ever went through this. The grandmothers ran around the house with a spoon to feed them all day long.
Mhm.
And I had a sister-in-law who sat her children in the
High chair.
high chair, slopped the food there, and they did with their hands, and they ate, and they were amazing
The
eaters.
dream.
And we, we wanted, little spoons. And I do believe that wiping her face so much made her hate eating. It was like, stop. After every spoonful, somebody was wiping her face. And it became this 2-year terrible, trying to feed this child. And so with the next two, it was like slop on the,
Mhm.
have your, eat with your hands, be dirty in your hair. And
It will hose you down.
those two were the best eaters ever. Ali was always very particular, and she went through Kraft cheese, macaroni and cheese for 6 months, hot dogs, 6 months, and then they get sick of it,
Yes.
Yeah, and then they get sick of it. And at one point, I mean, you can feed them anything you want. If they're not going to eat it because for whatever reason, then you just feed them what they like, and then that's what happens.
I think this is major karma because my daughter is exactly what you just described of me as a child.
But do you, because in one of those Love Every books, they teach us not to wipe the face while they're eating.
I never did that for Isabel.
Okay.
She does it herself.
But she does it herself.
She does it
She's
herself.
like yucky and wipes her own face.
But she used to be a great eater.
Yeah.
Something happened. And when I saw for the first time you going around that house with her spoon with food, it just brought back that memory.
Mm-hmm.
And
like,
karma. I thought to myself, really?
And I always said, I will never do that.
But you do. You do whatever it takes.
That's a good baby shower game, that what I will never do. And then you have to bring it back and show them when they've done it. Both Ali and I did something called solid starts. So this was not something that you guys did when you were younger. How her and I, at a very young age, like 5 months, started giving food in its solid form. I remember you would almost want to.
I have to leave the room.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I don't know, till like 1, I would give them Gerber baby mushed up food.
Okay.
And she started very early, 5 months, 6 months, giving little solids. And I would see, she would show me these videos. Look, this girl is 6 months old, and look, she's already eating chicken. And I'm like, what? I would be so scared that he would choke.
Oh, I see.
I just had such anxiety that I would literally walk out of the room.
Like fresh chicken, you mean?
Meaning like even an omelet, I'd give an omelet strip.
Yeah.
And they're working their tongue, and anyways, there's a whole choking mechanism. I was comforted.
Yes.
Having my mother in the room while I was doing this
Would stress you?
would stress me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it was that was just not something.
No.
I think your pediatrician told you not to give us solid foods until our teeth came in.
Probably. And we listened to everything. Our
Pediatrician says.
We never question.
But even just to give you a different, Isabel's teeth came in at 1.
Yeah.
She got her first tooth at 1, and Marcus got it at 6 months.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like.
And I think it wasn't even just when the teeth come in. I think it was start solid food at 1 because their system is not ready yet for solid food. If I remember correctly.
I don't remember 1. I remember 5 or 6 months. That's what I remember.
Doing purees? You start with purees,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
I'm talking about solid food, not.
Yeah, like I see what you mean.
What you have to chew.
Mm-hmm.
Even before
Depends
you
on the
have all your
teeth, right? I mean, how many teeth the baby.
But I saw Marcus he would work his tongue. He would do it with his tongue and the top of his palate, and he'd be eating, and I would just be like in the corner of the room.
But their gums are so strong too. That's what we don't realize.
I would get concerned because Isabel, she would take big chunks in her mouth, and that really scared me. But I remember my mother saying that my brother was so hungry that at a month and a half she started giving him pablum.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Pablum, yes.
Yeah, that's what they did in the old days, and
that's right.
What's pablum? We're sitting here. What's pablum?
Cereal.
It's like a powder cereal that you put into your formula,
like a kasha,
or your breast milk, and like a kasha, exactly.
Like a kasha.
And then you,
for those who don't speak Ukrainian,
yes, yeah. And I remember at first with I think it was with Larissa, I made the holes in one of her bottles larger, and she would drink the pablum that was mixed in with the
pablum.
Interesting.
Does that make sense? Do you know what
I don't even know if we have that these days.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you do. I bought it. She would not let
it's
me.
It's not in our holistic
probably would not
cabinet.
It was Gerber.
Probably does not have a green approval. But as our parents say, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
We're good. We're healthy. We're good.
Right.
What's the biggest difference you see in parents today than parents when you guys were growing up?
That's the whole social media exposure that you guys have. The Google, I think it's phenomenal.
To an extent.
But you still have to be logical about what you read and who your sources are, right? You have to vet them and make sure, that they're legitimate people, because, everybody's got an opinion, but are you an expert? Is there, backing, and research behind that? And then at the end of the day, you've got to do what you think is right. Obviously, you would never put your children in danger, and you do the best. That's, to me, the biggest difference, and
I think we were just much more laissez-faire. We believed everything and anything our pediatrician told us. If we noticed something, it'd be like, I call, speak to the secretary. Either she'd say, "Oh, that sounds like nothing to worry about. However, if you really want to come in, I'll squeeze you in at 2:15 or whatever." I don't think we were as intense or as worried, because now, like in your previous podcast, I think it was you, Melania, who said, or both of you, Google can be like the worst.
You're dead if you Google.
Yeah.
Whatever symptom you have.
If you're not already dead, Google will tell you.
Yeah.
Or if your child has this, well, very rarely is it like it's absolutely nothing to worry about. It's 10 different avenues of what could be the most horrific thing.
Yeah.
Wait, so you didn't even have Google?
No,
we had nothing. We
You
didn't
didn't
have
even
cell
have Google?
phones.
No, we had nothing.
We had nothing.
We didn't even have cell phones.
I mean, if we had to look something up, we had encyclopedias. Those were these big books.
I appreciate literature.
But things change all the time. So there would be a new encyclopedia this big for the letter A, which changed every 2 years. Now it automatically. So there's a good thing, I think, Google for many things, like how to get to your house today. Wonderful.
I don't know about that because you were ringing the neighbor's doorbell. I don't know how well Google Maps did for you.
That's because I didn't even look at the address. That you drive a car that is so rare, and there's that car parked, and I'm like, oh, okay, Melania's already here, and I parked next to it and rang the. I'm sure I woke them up.
For sure.
Did they answer?
They did not. Okay, they did not. They probably have a camera.
And
Who's the lunatic?
Yeah.
But on what you were just talking about, how you would call the pediatrician and ask if anything was homeopathy, was naturopathy, was osteopathy. I don't remember if I'm saying all
Never
these
even
words.
any other
Like,
opathy.
did you even know about it? Did you know anybody who was doing it?
No.
I think we had chiropractors in those days.
Maybe.
Physiotherapist, maybe, but that had nothing to do with our children. Anything to do with our children was the pediatrician.
That's right.
Point final. Homeopathy, naturopathy, no.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Interesting.
The resources that we have today in comparison.
Yeah.
How about any natural remedies, or what do they call it? Like old wives' tales, or
Chicken soup.
Chicken soup.
Vicks vapor
Yes.
on your chest.
Yes.
So you get that inhalation.
I think those are highly toxic
Yeah.
for children. Just so you know.
That, I think even baby powder with the talc
Baby
in it.
powder.
bad, very bad.
Just not to, I'm sure Ali and I will probably, things we're doing now will be bad in 30 years.
Probably.
Not as
I'm sure we'll have done something. I mean, I just feel bad. I just don't want to
you
ring
know,
them.
when I was breastfeeding and I had all the cracked whatever, my toes would cringe, as the baby would start to nurse again. And somebody said to me, you know what, just put a little polysporin. I mean, I had all the creams that, but then somebody said to me, try polysporin. Oh my God. In a day, things healed. And of course, before the baby, would nurse, I would wipe, but polysporin was a miracle cure for me.
To this day, you still tell me to put polysporin on
I
everything.
will tell you to do that. We've got a great cream and it works fantastically. We probably didn't even have that because what I bought, 35 years ago didn't quite work.
Nobody told me anything.
And chicken soup and
Chicken soup.
Vicks Vapor Rub.
Did Baba say like to put the baby to sleep, put a little peach schnapps in their milk?
No.
No.
Baba said that's what they used to do in the old days,
Oh.
back in the old
Nobody
country.
told us to.
And you take a little schmata, a little piece of rag, because they didn't even have pacifiers there,
right,
and they put it in their
and you
homemade schnapps and
knock them out.
And teething was the same thing.
you'd rub it on there.
Yeah, exactly.
We did not.
No, we did not. But what was that thing for colic? There was a thing for colic. And I think it still exists. And I think we even talked about it, Ali.
Like grape,
Yeah.
grapes, not grape seed, something grape.
Something, yeah, grape. And it was for colic because Ali was a little colicky.
Okay.
And when the dryer didn't work, sorry, I gave you that.
Now we use a lot of homeopathy
Yeah.
for our kids.
I'd be interested to see when Boiron or Boiron, I don't know,
Wow.
came around.
Piron. Wow.
What's that?
The brand that
We use.
hopefully one day will sponsor us. Manifestation.
Yeah.
I think that's
You
wonderful.
can get it at the pharmacy.
How
And
do you
it's just
spell it?
IRON.
Wow.
They're
Wow.
Canadian. I think even a Quebec company.
I've seen them.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have
And
like the
they're
little
Canadian, that's
tubes.
lovely.
Yeah.
So easy, already set for kids,
Yeah.
portioned.
Whatever the symptom is. they've
Taste.
got
It doesn't
remedy.
taste like anything.
No.
Which is a win.
Is there anything that we do as moms that you wish you did or that you had access to?
Well, when I was pregnant, I wish I went to an osteopath. I had a terrible sciatica for the last 2 months. We just dealt with it.
Yeah.
We just dealt with the horrible, horrible pain. Nobody suggested anything.
No.
I suppose Tylenol, which I was against taking.
Yeah, you really shouldn't be taking that
Yeah.
once you're pregnant.
So that, my God, I would have loved to have had a night nurse. And that's, of course, that's all dependent on can you financially afford that? It's great to have all these options that are out there.
Mhm.
Not everyone can afford it,
Right.
right? But and back then I wouldn't have been able to. But that would have been that's a game changer. If you can sleep.
Mm. But I learned to sleep, anytime Ali was sleeping. I was able to get on the couch
No.
and
You're lucky.
nap.
No, I could not.
So,
She's one of those when the baby sleeps, you sleep.
Yeah, that's a great thing. if
and
you
I've
can do
told her
that.
100 times, but she can't.
I can't.
You know,
I could not.
that's what saved me. I really, a night nurse. I mean, honestly, I loved getting up at 3:00 in the morning. I loved it. I was home in my time, and don't forget, I was a working mom. So
want to say? See you in 2 months at 3 a.m.
I loved getting up at 3 in the morning.
Yes.
We had, the shift timing planned where I could get a 6-hour stretch, because what I did was immediately as I gave birth, I breastfed and I gave 1 bottle a day.
Me too.
And not only for my sanity, but for her dad's ability
To
to
bond.
bond with her.
Mhm.
And he got the 3 o'clock shift. So I was able to go to bed at 12 or 1 and get up at 5. So I got a bit of a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
He was totally exhausted after a month, but c'est la vie. I gave birth,
Mm-hmm.
even Stephen. So,
Not quite. But.
so, so I did that for all the children. And then that one bottle became 2 bottles,
Mhm.
and then weaning off the breast to that.
Yeah.
But I truly loved waking up with my babies.
Mm.
So I would never have had a night nurse.
Mm. I did the same thing. I went to bed at 9, and Paul would give the 11 o'clock bottle. And I don't know if it was just Melania or if it's every child. It fills you up more.
Yeah.
The formula.
Mhm.
So
True.
if he gave it to her at 11, let's say 11:30, she fell asleep. She slept till almost 5.
Oof.
Yeah. So
4
9
or
to
5
5, you had a really
yeah,
nice
so I
stretch.
slept from
I don't know.
9 till 5.
Yeah.
So that was, but we didn't do that right away. But once we figured that out, maybe 2 months down, I was like, oh my God, this is a lifesaver.
You know what's so funny though? We all remember the exact times. Like time.
Oh, yeah.
Like time is such a construct. We like even this morning she was up at 5:25. 5:23.
Well, it all has to
5:23. You know what?
You remember. You
Yes.
remember.
Yes.
But then it goes by so fast, right?
Yeah.
It does.
And then you're sitting on a couch
It
with
doesn't
your
feel like it at that moment,
Mothers.
but it really does.
Yeah.
And now look at 4 of us sitting here talking about that.
But they're precious times. Precious. I would never give them up. Happy I changed my mind from not wanting, and then having 3.
Yeah.
No looking back, no regrets. Just the best decision we ever made.
Look at us,
I know.
obviously.
hello. Should we ask the questions?
Yeah.
So we always ask our guests who come on what their favorite baby product was or is. Do you remember?
Well, I will say the baby carriage and the walks were the best thing, because that's when you slept the best, especially as a newborn. You were born in April, and it was beautiful outside, and we would just walk and walk and walk forever. And that was my go-to stroller.
And pacifier. I'll throw that in there.
There were 3 in the stroller, 5 in the bed,
Yeah.
every couch.
I know when you got a little bit of let's say 6 months, it was 6 months, 8 months, it was the bottle. Like especially apple juice. Nobody, please don't put apple juice in your child's
Yeah,
bottle.
they got us addicted to apple juice. They got us addicted. My parents got us addicted to apple juice because they put it in our bottles.
And so neither one of my daughters had front teeth because they sugar rotted them, and they just the slightest little bang and they broke.
Is that what happened? Because I remember you both didn't have front teeth.
Yeah, Nick too.
And actually, Nicola broke his front tooth, but not because of apple juice, just because of a terrible fall. So
Wow.
all 3 of my children lost it.
It is a curse that we hope ended with Nick.
That's right.
Yes.
Does
that's
not go into any more future descendants.
Yes. No.
But you guys were so cute without front teeth.
We look like a little hockey team. And what was your go-to mommy product?
For yourself.
Like it got you through those times.
I don't think I
wine.
I barely
No, I didn't drink.
drank wine then.
I didn't drink till I was 35, 40 years old. I did not drink.
I mean, I drank, but that's not what I would go to, because then it would be very hard to get up in the middle of the night. I don't think there was anything, honest to God.
Yeah.
The thought of like having a day to myself, if I had something planned, even if it was 3 weeks away, that just kind of kept you going. Just a day to me.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, moms.
Thanks
Such
for
an
joining
honor
us.
and a pleasure.
Thank you.
We got to go relieve the dads. How did we do for time?
They're doing well.
They're doing
They
great.
managed.
We're doing okay. So let's.
So we're
Final thoughts? Anything else you want to share?
Our husbands are downstairs with our toddlers right
There's no screaming.
That's true. You see, that's what I'm saying.
You know?
Take advantage, ladies.
So we're going to sign off and say this was another lovely raw conversation, but we're going to tell the daddies we're still recording.
Exactly. You're learning.
This was fun. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.